Okay, so here's our game.
Okay.
We are going to talk about a book that doesn't exist. Like we've both read it.
Okay.
And we're just discussing it on the Legendarium. Only it's going to be a little bit Utah specific. And because you're on the Sci-Fi team, it's going to be, at least in title, somewhat of a shout out to a famous sci-fi story. So it's the sequel or a spin-off or a same universe as iRobot, but
Okay.
it's I-15 Robot.
Interesting. Okay.
And we're just gonna have a quick little book discussion about it. So.
Okay.
Hey Megan, thanks for coming to our local podcast on books that are local and awesome in sci-fi.
You're welcome.
Today we read I-15 Robot, and I was wondering if you loved this book as much as I did.
Oh my gosh, this book, it was so creative. I was amazed at the way they were able to just grab me right from the beginning.
I know.
And just throw me into, I felt like I was careening down I-15 the whole time.
Yeah, the breakneck pace until all of a sudden, that first inciting incident, I felt like they had a huge construction cone, right? And I had to change lanes instantly because I thought this whole time we're going along and it's going to be about how the robots want to kill us all.
Mm-hmm.
But I was blown away.
I know, and it was nuts because, you have the robots and then it turns out that, they have that flaw. And you could just, not using your blinker, you could totally fool them when you're changing lanes. And they would just be like, what? They couldn't handle it.
Which led to my favorite comedy scene where he just kept running over that same robot backwards and forwards because he left his blinker on.
I know. And, spinning in the snow is just always terrifying. But it was kind of lovely to have that mental image of the sparks flying and the snows flying all at the same time.
Oh, and then when the robots took control of the snowplows on I-15 and they were coming down in that diagonal lane right after the ingenue.
Yes.
I was totally freaking out.
Oh my gosh, I know. I do not know what would have happened if she had not been able to get to the off-ramp in time. Especially because that was an icy hazard. And you just knew that they had set up that hazard ahead of time. You're like, oh my gosh, it was so scary.
And I was freaking out because, she pulls off right at that 1300 South, 2100 South. So it's double the off ramp. And I was like, is she going to get off of the freeway all the way? Or is she going to keep going for a little bit longer? Because up ahead we have that other robot who's the spaghetti bowl monster. And he's just waiting for her under the overpass.
Such a good visual on that spaghetti bowl monster. And it reminded me that sometimes, at my new job, it's been really difficult. And sometimes I feel like that spaghetti bowl is shooting its lasers at me all the time. When I'm sitting there and I'm trying to run a scenario and my mentor just keeps saying, well, what's the next thing? Type it in, and I'm like, I don't know what to, and, I freeze up the way that the ingenue does. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, this character totally gets me. I really appreciated it.
I feel like you're going all third level on this moment because that's exactly what I needed to hear in my own personal life at this time. That sometimes you think you've avoided the collision and the disaster and the bigger things coming, but if you just,
I know, she smashed right through it. I really didn't think that she would ever be that bold. I thought she would stop and try to get out and hit it with the windshield wipers, and no, she just ran through it with her car. I can do this. I'm not going to be afraid.
Yeah, and spoiler alert.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm going to follow you and spoil some more things. At the end, when she saves the guy because his motorcycle has crashed and she's in the carpool lane so she can get past everything else. I just thought, that's what I need to do. I need to just burst through my obstacles so that I'm able to help other people.
And because they, then you know what they're going through and you can help them to. And I really appreciated that it was such a strong feminine character, a role model. And she wasn't afraid to be feminine and to be girly and, do her lipstick while she was driving.
That's one of the best parts when she's doing her mascara as she's headed on I-80.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Having driven down that road, I know how scary that can be. Yeah. It was nice to have the woman save the man in that scenario, especially since, she somehow, she kept careening through things, but she never actually hurt anyone or hurt anything. It was just, she was doing her thing and it ended up working out really well for everyone.
Awesome.
It's kind of amazing.
Thank you so much, Megan, for playing my ridiculous game.
I liked it.
And thank you for letting me interview you today and talk about the Legendarium and everything.
You're welcome. I'm flattered that you invited me. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh, good. It's such my pleasure.